Part two of how to stop seeking male validation. Part one was great. It was really good because we were able to talk about the whys, the why we do it, the why we need it, the why that it's so important. And part two is the how. I'm going to show you how to stop doing this, how to limit it, how to decrease your need to be dependent on it. And I'm excited to do that. I really am. I'm excited to, talk to you guys about these low lift things that you can do. So let's begin. This is something that we all know. Male validation, it makes us feel special. I hate that it does, but it does. It makes us feel special. It makes us feel worthy, beautiful, and like a full person. And the reason why it does that to us is because it was designed that way. It is how society is structured. It is patriarchal, and it is designed to keep power in men's hands. And what better way to do that than to depend on someone who can say yes or no to who you are. So to fight back, to take power back into your own hands, to go against this type of brainwashing, you need to learn how to validate yourself. You need to learn how to create your life and live it exactly how you want to. That's the only solution to this problem. Now, I have some easy lifts that you can use to get you to that space. And I hope that you guys, gain some insight, gain some information from this, because this is something that these are points. Some of them are like things that you're already doing, but some of them are things that you need to start doing. My first one, and this is when people are at the end of the road and they are tired of themselves. And I know I've been there. I've been at the point where I am tired of myself. I think what I'm doing is just stupid and I need to stop. And that's when you talk to yourself and you're just like, I'm tired and I probably need to go cold turkey. This is a good thing. Going cold turkey to work on yourself is a good thing. And what it looks like is like not dating men until you have a good understanding of yourself, learning what your heart has been craving, developing self-worth, healing, and deciding to only come back into the dating game when you can be vulnerable, be gentle, but you do so with boundaries and with trust in yourself. Because sometimes we go cold turkey and we come back hardened with our walls up and aggressive to people who are interested in us because, it's hurt, it's pain, we've been bruised. And that's often how you come back. When you've been bruised, you try to come back harder than you were. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Trust me, I tried it. It doesn't work. Your objective with going cold turkey is to come back gentle, with boundaries and with trust in yourself. And when you get back into the dating world, you are going to learn more about yourself. You are going to learn more about this person. You are going to learn more about your boundaries. And that's okay. That's okay to do. You're not going to know everything until you are in action. But for right now, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about going cold turkey and pouring into ourselves in a way that's going to be beneficial for the life that we want. And what you want is to connect with people heart to heart. And the only way to do that is to be vulnerable. So go cold turkey and start working on yourself. We all know that, in part one, I discussed your childhood and how that impacts you. As an adult, we cannot force our parents to apologize. We cannot force them to try to do better. We cannot force them to take accountability because more than likely they're not. They're not going to try to change and they're not going to try to solve problems that they created. So with that, you have to do that on your own. Okay? And that looks like tending to your inner child or your raging teenager, which is the stage that I had to go through. The need to be affirmed and the inability to affirm yourself is a clue that there is a child or a teenager inside of you that needs comfort. That comfort can look like hugging yourself, speaking words of love to yourself, affirming that what your parents did was wrong, fulfilling some wishes of your childhood self. It looks like therapy, delighting in yourself, following your desires, affirming your wants. The key to this intervention is to give yourself the love and affirmation you desperately needed as a kid. Because oftentimes that need for male validation is that child in that teenage begging to be seen, begging to be loved and cared for. And unfortunately, your parents did not do a good job by that or about that. And you have to take up that role for yourself and do it for you. So reparent yourself and tend to your inner child. That is one of the biggest things that's going to help you stop seeking out male validation. And while you are doing those things, working on your inner self, you need to really take a look of what men are. Okay? Men's validation is cheap. It's a cheap thing to have. We see them use it for anyone who will look their way. They use it for exploitation. They use it to use people. They use it just for fun. They use it all the time. You're not receiving anything expensive or rare. It's not a rare gift that you're receiving. And sometimes when you have lacked validation your whole childhood, you think that this thing is rare. It's something that you never experienced before, and it's not. Male validation is cheap. You are receiving a McDonald's burger. It's everywhere. It contains nothing of real value. It does not nurture you. It does not provide any nutrition for you. It's just there when you need it sometimes. Even you may not even want to eat that. You may not even want that. It's just kind of there. So stop making men's validation this, ruby. It's not a ruby. It's a McDonald's burger. And it's cheap. It's not what you think it is. And you need to bring it down to earth and ground those experiences. How many times have you walked down the street and somebody has said something or looked your way, or they do that to all the women who cross the street, who walk down the street. So it's not a rare gift. While you are realizing that men's validation is cheap, y'all got to make friends. You have to make friends. You have to build your community, have strong community ties, because when you self-reflect, you will notice that the moments when you are alone and bored and sad and you're not around your friends, that's when you start to reach out to exes. Or, you get on a dating app because you're lonely. And since men's validation is so cheap, you know that you can get it real quickly to fulfill and to make you feel better about being lonely. Happy women with friends and who are constantly going out or having people come over their house to hang out or go for dinner, they're rarely feeling like they're missing something, because they aren't. They're having fun. They're enjoying themselves. They're having a good time. So you need to start making friends. No more relying on men to provide you with to get you out of loneliness, because that's exactly what you're doing. Another this is difficult, but it's something that you have to do, is validate yourself. According to GABA 2019, self-validation is the ability to recognize and acknowledge your own internal experience. And when you think about that definition, it's kind of like, dang, it's like self-validation doesn't seem that hard. I just got to recognize and acknowledge my own internal experience. That doesn't seem that hard. And it doesn't. You just have to practice it. You got to practice saying to yourself, your feelings are valid. Practice letting your feelings be, cry, be mad, be angry, and stop trying to stop it or change it or tell yourself what you should be doing or correct them. Just allow them to be. There's nothing wrong with having conflicting feelings. There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean anything about you. They just give you a hint and insight into what you need or what you're looking for. So practice it. Allow yourself to be, and when you do this, when you validate yourself, you are more likely to start showing up authentically as yourself in different spaces. And this is very important because often romantic relationships are where we feel that we can be our most authentic self. So often we put on the mask, we hide, we tell people well, I'm fine, I'm good, when we're feeling really bad. And we refuse to be vulnerable with our community because we think that that is something that's reserved for romance, and it's not. It's not. So instead of waiting to find someone who validate your needs or your feelings and your desires, do that for yourself. Give that to you, affirm you, because that's going to quickly evolve into a person who is showing up as their authentic selves everywhere they go. Another one, and this is a big one, and I kind of touched on it lightly on Twitter. You guys have to remind yourself that your opinion matters. And I noticed this, like, girls will go on this healing journey, self-love, self-care, go to these retreats, do all these things, go on a date, and in a date say something crazy to them and they internalize it as the truth. And the reason why this pisses me off so much is because we let someone who knows us for a week, maybe a month, convince ourselves that what they think is the truth. So we've been living with ourselves our whole entire life. And instead of taking our opinion as the truth, because we have the evidence, we've lived with ourselves, we know ourselves, instead you don't take this opinion of yourself, the one that you develop. Instead, you take the person who barely knew you, only wants to fuck you, who don't really care about you as a person. You take their point of view and their opinion of you as your truth. And when you think about it, that's like really hurtful. That's like really hurtful what you're doing to yourself. And that's really hurtful what you're unconsciously saying to yourself. How can the thoughts of someone you just met mean more than your own? Don't you matter? Don't your opinion matter? So remind yourself that if you are in a place, in a space where someone or a man tries to tear you down and invalidate you and make you feel less of a human or less of who you are, remind yourself that their opinion does not matter more than mine. I have the most evidence on me. I know what I am about. And you spent a month maybe getting to know me, and you don't know shit about me. You don't know nothing about me. You only know what I tell you. So how can that be more or be the truth more than my own truth? And furthermore, you guys got to start treating yourself kindly, because maybe you do believe their opinion because you don't think so kind of yourself. And the reason why this matters is, like, treating yourself kindly is because sometimes you're not craving male validation. Sometimes you're craving kindness. And unfortunately, our inner thoughts can be very cruel, and it's no fault of our own. It's just kind of like the cards we were dealt. And because we were dealt this, we have to address it. We have to stop hearing these hurtful things in your mind all the time. You have to be kind. You have to affirm yourself. You have to say that your desire matter. You have to light up at your own, experiences and your own ideas. You have to start pouring into yourselves and integrate kindness into your life. Because if you are constantly downing yourself, treating yourself like shit, having these horrible inner thoughts about you, when this man comes with a little bit of kindness, you're going to flip. You're going to act like it's, once again, a rare gift. You're going to act like it's this beautiful thing that you've never experienced, and you're going to put this guy on a pedestal because you never gave that type of kindness to yourself. So give yourself kindness so that, if a man comes to validate you or be a little gentle to you, you don't internalize that as some huge, rare task. It's what people are supposed to do. It's what you're supposed to feel. And sometimes we haven't felt kindness in a long time, that validation means a lot to us. Another point is to develop self-confidence. And I realize that this is easier said than done, but It's one of those things that you have to do. You have to develop self-confidence, especially in this world. In this world, self-confidence is your armor that you definitely need because people project all the time. In accordance to Psychology Today, confidence is a belief in oneself, the conviction that one has the ability to meet life challenges and to succeed, and the willingness to act accordingly. And this definition by itself suggests that self-confidence is an action, meaning, contrary to popular belief, actions help build self-confidence and not necessarily the belief first, then you develop the self-confidence. And I'll break this down. It's kind of like a promise. When you meet someone, you make a promise to each other. You're not necessarily you don't trust it all the time, but you trust it when you see the action that support what they said. So if they promise you they're going to run with you every week, you have an expectation that may happen, but when they show up every week to run with you, then you realize that you can trust it. And that's kind of how you develop confidence within yourself. You're trying to let yourself know that you can trust you. So if you check off your to-do list every day, you start to believe that every day you will execute what you said you will do. And anytime you do what you say, that's the closer you are to getting to trusting yourself. And trusting yourself is self-confidence. It's belief that I can do this. I can do this and I can act and show myself that I can do this. Other than like trusting yourself, there are some small things and kind of big things, small things that help you, find joy, help you get the love off of you, like the love that you want to give to someone. It helps you direct it. And those things are, one, get an animal. You guys have a lot of love to give, and unfortunately, you guys try to give it to any guy who slightly validates you. And instead of doing that and giving it to a toxic or hurtful person, a person who's going to exploit you, someone who only sees you as useful, you can give it to your dog. You can give it to your cat, your bird, your bunny. You can give all of that love and that energy to a pet. And the good thing about that is you are always guaranteed a return. So if you have all this love to give and you give it to men because you want to be validated, let's switch the man out and put an animal in so that you can still keep giving this love, but you're not harming yourself while you're doing it. The second thing that, I said you can do that's pretty easy, that's, just can kind of build some joy. Guys, get a hobby. Get a hobby. Anytime you girls get that bug where you feel like you need someone, you feel so lonely and you need someone to acknowledge you and call you pretty and call you this, it's typically when you guys are alone or bored. That's when you reach out to your ex. That's when you go out and you entertain someone who you know is either ugly or you don't want to be around. That's when you accept dates that you don't want to go on. It's when you're bored. So instead of being bored, find a hobby that you like, that you actually like, not what you think you should do or think you should be or think, where you think your career should go. Do one that you actually really like, something that you naturally like to do, and do that. Find something that produces joy and do that, because when you are in the space of joy and community, when you are happy, you are not yearning. You're not yearning. You don't feel like you are without. You don't feel like you need someone to confirm that you are a human or beautiful or intelligent or worthy or loved. You don't need those things because you're busy doing things that bring you joy. So these are very low lift options that you can use at any time. Anytime you feel a deep down yearning and it takes you kind of out of yourself, go back to this list and find something that can be easy, like getting a hobby or getting a pet or validating yourself, and do that. And also, don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed by seeking validation from men. Everyone seeks out validation. They all do. But as we grow, hopefully, and we become an adult and we pour into ourselves and we develop self love and self confidence and all these self whatevers, you will realize that you can create it within yourself. That you can create it within yourself, that you can cope better, that you can take actions that improve your life, make you feel better, make you feel good about yourself, and the power that you have that's within you are the things that can bring that. It's not what men have, it's what you have. So kind of learn to rely more on yourself. And on that note, you guys take care. Take care.